Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. In the name of God, the most merciful, the most benevolent. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. All praise due to the Lord of the worlds. There's a higher power here. Rabbi Firli. May God forgive us for that which we know and we don't know. Ihdina Sirat al-Mustaqim. May God guide us to the direct path towards the greatest outcome. All right. So today I consider myself as a simple human being wanting to speak about what I find to be like the most important topic for human beings to engage with. And I'm just gonna, present my case here. I before this lecture, okay, let me tell you it like this. What's inspiring me to talk right now is a series of personal, from my direct experience, observations I've made on life, and they have a global implication. That means it's like the matter at hand that I'm talking about relates to every member of the human species. It's like a problem for the human species I'm talking about. So, and the way I've decided to kind of talk about this now is if somebody wonders about what kind of listeners I honestly care for, I care for any human being who cares for their species and for the system admin to this world we're in, and to some degree, while they're here in this world, wonders about it. Also, at the same time, this to me, this is kind of like what I want to explain in this episode has to do with how much human beings care to wonder about the future of their species. You see, it's all contexted in a manner, and I'm going to put music in the background. Hopefully there's no copyright issues. But anyways, this moment happens once. I have something very important to speak about, and I'm speaking to the advanced humanity. That is really who I'm speaking to. I am speaking to the most advanced version of whoever you are, surpassing whatever narrative you function through. The matter at hand is of a royal nature. Do you understand? That means it doesn't matter. It's the matter of like the royalty of souls and the presence of what they truly are. Oops. And keep in mind the content is important, not the speaker. The speaker of this lecture is temporary, a temporary human being, has a lifespan, but the content, the concepts, the challenges of the species that we're overcoming, like I'm telling you, this, like my honest opinion is that the Earth is a little boring. We become fascinated by its potential. That means you have a completely different attitude when you wake up every day realizing, okay, I got problems, and then you realize society has problems, and then you realize there's problems even for your species. A countless kind of like, how do I say it? The world is a challenge. Religiously a test. Okay, let me change the music here. No, no, I can't hear this right now. I gotta. All right, let's go with this. All right, guys, I'm gonna get to the episode. I haven't even started yet. But anyways, I'm pretty much going to speak about something that relates to every human being. If you're a human being, you are as valuable as a rare possibility in this world. All right, here it goes, guys. Really, what it is in order to give myself freedom to talk about these ideas, I can't keep explaining the context. So I have to set the context. And the context is very simple, and I want you to, my whole aim is to get people to look at something, but what they're looking at is not in the world. And that's where it gets interesting. So right now, we human beings, okay, just to paint a context. First of all, this lecture is called "What Life Is Like After Acknowledging the Higher Power." That means I'm one human being, and there's 8 billion of us here, and I've come to the species publicly, and I'm saying, okay, I'm just wondering. I'm not claiming anything. I'm just wondering, what would life be like after humanity acknowledges a higher power to the game of where civilization is really going? Do you understand? There's when you realize the system is behaving in grander ways than you become humble enough to try to understand it. So right now I'm saying, yo, I don't know like what era of time and history people want to vibe at right now, but this lecture is being pointed to directly at the future. Why? Because it's as if you think about like yourself, what am I going to do in 100 years? Now I want you to think about what is my species going to do to endlessly advance in this world? And what is the purpose? What is the actual game? Do you understand? Like, regardless of whether you know about religion or it archaically revives as the notion of the system admin in modern times, I'm telling you, it's all just creatures in a place wondering about intelligence, and they're wondering about the source of intelligence. Right? So right now, I'm like, yo, imagine a future where 8 billion human beings were like, yo, man, the original power system to reality is active. As if we begin to consciously, as a species, acknowledge that it is a divine surveillance state. What does that mean? Divine doesn't mean abstract, and that's enough. I'm talking about, we wonder like a movie. Like, I don't know. Okay, how do I explain this? Pretty much right now in 2025, I don't think a lot of human beings can relate to what I'm saying. But you, as a human being right now in 2025, can just for a moment, your mind has an ability for a moment to be like, okay, I'm in 2025. Let's wonder what happens in 100 years. Mighty challenge. You wonder about, okay, in 100 years, da da da, and you realize, oh my God, I'm not here anymore. So then this alarming sensation arises in the human fascination that, like, okay, this world is in some sense an elemental video game. There's many questions to it, there's unknown variables, but there are known variables to it. So when I say what life is like after acknowledging the higher power, it's like acknowledging that right now the human beings living on Earth are ideologically being intelligent. What that means is, like, they're, you know how they say like, oh my God, that person is so creative, societal, it's like unleash the societal worship. It's like, no, right? The point of it is that if you were in a room with a bunch of beings, you would have to ask which being is seeing the furthest. That question needs to come to your mind. So you have to, in this world, as you're consciously functioning through it, be like, okay, how are value systems placed into phenomena? So when I say what life is like after acknowledging the higher power, right now in 2025, the self is being worshipped. We're in a self-worshipping era. People are like, I'm not religious, but you have to listen to me, and I'll be like, okay, it's like you're not religious, but fundamentally, it's the relationship of how a biological organism follows its subjective models to reality, which are simulated. So the way we're intelligent right now is very mysterious because we're constantly respawning every day, you know? And it's remarkable to me. I sometimes I when I don't take things personally, I get to see the world for what it is. And right now, I don't know how many human beings have decided to give a lecture on this. It's like this random person on earth is saying, yo, let's consider that every form has a future. That's simple enough. Every form has a future. What does that mean? That means we're wondering about what does it mean to be anything at all in a changing system. And you'll realize human beings have centralized values through organizational hierarchies. Like, I'm trying to get you to get so fascinated about life where you're like, yo, what's going on here? And that question, it's like, is that enlightenment? No, no, no. It's like anything that a person wants to be, it's like a dream inside a dream that thinks it can touch eternity. Relax. Like, we have to get the species to have a have a capability to see beyond any ideological framework, beyond any nationality, beyond just this view. Like, yo, what's gonna happen to the species? This question surpasses any context. So I wonder about, okay, what is the most advanced relationship in this life that can happen? And I'm going to explain that today for you. And all that I ask is that you, as an honest human being who looks at this world and notices the unknown, truly wonders about it. So, I've kind of, in my notes, I've just shared this vision. And it's something I'm going to read. This is pen and paper me. So just hear me out. The most fascinating thing is how we categorize life. That's like super fascinating. And how we are individual human beings, it's like we have to acknowledge it's kind of weird. It's like everybody is a stranger because everybody has a different DNA. But we relate in where we want to walk in this world. Do you understand that? It's as if like people were like, yo man, our army's like a natural phenomena where National Geographic is like, we're gonna film how armies back in the day formed. It's like humans are animals too. It's like, the evolutionists are like, okay, National Geographic's gone next up. But what I'm trying to say honestly is that the question at hand is ultimately looking at 8 billion human beings and be like, okay, they're in a place, in a context, they're all in their own cultural programs. We get it. We've polished up individualization on Earth, like in regards to individual identity. But now the question comes, to truly respond directly, that's the best approach, I think, to what is this eerie feeling every human being has on Earth, that regardless of what is the agenda of their nation, they're like, wait a minute though, what's going to happen in the far, far future? And then people suddenly step out of all the isms that are cruel. Do you understand? I'm saying right now in 2025, I'm giving this talk to you. The normal level of perception is simply this, that, yo, man, I'm this individual biological organism. I have this ability of speech and communication. in human identity, it's all about context and how these contexts are creating value systems that human beings are functioning through. And ultimately you're kind of like sitting here as a being staring at how fascinating everything is, but ultimately wondering if, like, okay, let's say you were so curious, not curious, you were like, wait a minute, we're living on earth as human beings, and but what is the most advanced outcome? Do you understand? Like, some questions can't be avoided. For me, that with a moment my mind as a human being was like, yo, what does advancement mean? It just advanced everything. It meant every ideological system's future gave it the probability to renew. So for me, I'm kind of bored with modernity of 2025, and I'm jumping ahead in my mind and being like, when will humanity, all these nationalistic entities, suddenly realize it's the human species' effort? Do you understand? It's like the person's like, wait a minute, though, that person has a different documentation, this person has a different documentation, but yo, they all have the same human species biological uh, component. Do you understand? It's like we look in the mirror and you're like, what am I looking at? It's like, okay, this is a member of the human species I'm looking at, right? So you wonder about the collective. So here, this is what I've written. This is the what I want to share for my, like, what I'm trying to pass down. Hopefully this message in a bottle is found in like eternity's river. Anyways, it says, here I've written the individual's relationship with society. Pretty much it's like 6 levels to it. So I'm saying, like, if everybody acknowledged the higher power right now, what would that human civilization look like? And this is how I'm explaining it here. The individual's relationship with society, the society's relationship with the species' relationship with the world and its mysteries relationship with the system admin's relationship with creation, and I've written here also users. So this is the geometry I'm sharing with the viewers right now. So pretty much we can say this is what this is the setting I'm kind of presenting it. A human being on Earth has 6 problems that they need to solve. I'm saying this as a member of I'm saying this as a member of the human species. For a second, just consider this context. So I'm saying, like, okay, the individual human being has a relationship with society. Society is how individual human beings have grouped up. It doesn't matter, it's all human beings still, but they've just grouped up. There's a sort of grouping game going on in it, as being a human. So let's say we're looking at a human being, its position in this world. The human being has a relationship with its individual dimension. So it's like, who are you as a being and what is your relationship to other beings? Then it's pretty much how all the other beings have a relationship with the whole species. That means I don't care if you're from that part of the world with that religion, with that code, you know, and that person on the other part of the world has a different code on what reality means. It's like, nice. Are we like, is this a kind of like Western standoff of code of what it means to be, like, what truth means? Pretty much you have a human being here. It has an individual relationship. Then there's a societal relationship. So there's an individual problem to solve. What is the most advanced individual? There's a societal problem to solve. What is the most advanced society? Then the relationship of the society with the species. What is the most advanced expression of the species? And then what is the most advanced relationship of the species with the world? And then what is the most advanced relationship of the world with the higher power? You understand? So reality is becoming very different than how the past like presented it. We're reaching an era of human ability to consider reality that it's we just notice it's all code. Okay? And there's a system admin here. And the whole point of the soul is that you're that part of the code in the simulated system that has an ability to acknowledge the original. So the individual problem to solve is it's like who am I and how is who am I being based on what I like kind of believe is here, what I know is here. For me, the higher power means we are in the passenger seat as a species. That's what the higher power means. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Anyways, guys, we're imperfect beings. Keep that in mind. I'm just sharing ideas here. And whatever, I'll just continue. I'm pretty much being like, oh, future generations. As a human being in 2025, it's not that we could prepare something for you, it's that it was the question of what is the most advanced access to intelligence. So one is that the system admin knows, so by the by just the nature of there being the notion that there is a higher power, it means that what happens in this life is semi in the control of man. So it means to acknowledge that there's like the relationship of human beings with each other, then the relationship of each human beings and with each other with the presence of a higher power. To be conscious of the divine surveillance state, to realize that what it means to be human is to be in a sort of access point. So the human being, in some sense, eventually what happens, it's pretty much this is the hierarchy, not hierarchy, this is the staircase that I'm climbing here. I'm saying, so okay, I'm an individual, I have a relationship with society, then my society has a relationship with how that we are one species, then the efforts of the whole unified species, we're like, okay, what's the relationship of the species with its world? You understand? These are like superior questions to wonder about. Then what is the relationship of everything? What is the relationship of the simulation with the original system admin? So life is no longer about just succeeding in the world, in the dunya, in the simulation. Life has become about really to be like, okay, I find myself in a system. I find myself in a system where there's an intelligence external to me that occurs. So pretty much, even, it's kind of strange, but even seeing a tree grow, like a flower grow, is kind of like witnessing the divine, that which arose by command beyond you. Do you understand? So the relationship of the human being with reality, it does on some level also come down to how far you consider what is sacred. That means that human survival is a sort of challenge beyond fear. But when you go beyond fear, no, I shouldn't say when you go beyond fear. I should say it like this. It's like the whole title, the next part of it would be like, what does the higher power want the world to be? And then how do I say it? It's pretty much We're users in a system. There's a system admin. We're wondering about the most advanced relationship of a human being with all the sectors of its consideration of what has value here on the planet. Ultimately, it comes down to being like, okay, there's a higher power here, so man has to, in some sense, find his role, align himself with the pure heart visionary value. I don't know how to say it. We have to wonder about like all the children who will be born in the future, all the human beings that will enter this world. What is the relationship they have with themselves? And what is the relationship they have with each other? Okay? And there is, I fundamentally believe that everything that, like, if somebody says, where do values begin? They begin with how far you're considering it can be. So the benefit of there being a higher power, a system admin, makes us kind of be like relaxed from how our ego code has to handle the whole burden. The six great problems. Every human being will have to consider these. Reality has an individual value. Reality has a societal value. Reality has a species value. There's a world value. And there is the system admin. So in the future, if we truly acknowledge a higher power, it will be advanced human beings who every moment consider that the higher power is present, so they acknowledge it. And as they go through the simulation, in some sense, the question arises: why can someone do something, and why should they do anything? Honestly, it comes down to what is the most advanced thing that we can do in the presence of the most advanced power. That's my point. That sentence is the whole point of this lecture. Because we have to wonder about what the most advanced human being looks like, and it's not like some external thing. It's about how far the human idea is being valued. So we start with the system admin God first. Then we, in some sense, the ego code has found itself present, simply. And then we wonder about what we are and what is the capability of it. That means, isn't it fascinating to wonder about if the human being could do anything, what would the most advanced thing it could do be? I think about the advancement of technology, and I think about how human beings ultimately, in regards to individual value, have to wonder about the most advanced survival state. And then you wonder, so it's pretty much like wondering about what would the most advanced person be like, and then wondering about what would the most advanced society of the most advanced people be like, and then would the most advanced species be like, what would the most advanced world be like, and how is this all in the presence of the unfathomable most advanced? Because the system admin is not bound by anything in the system. It can't be. The idea of God is the original. We are the simulator. So right now it's kind of like creation is like simulated user interface, but it's like we're experiencing reality, and we are like, let's say, self-energized as an organism, but at the same time we have intelligence. Intelligence means wondering about what is the most advanced movement in the moment. We discover this notion that the whole moment is present in the presence of the most advanced. We're not the most advanced, but we're in the presence of it. So that means that we're in a position where our task is to do. It's strange, but it's kind of like also divine, where it's like we just need to do the best we can, right? And the effort is organized by the higher power and by based on its value. It's like caring for in this whole these levels I've been talking about. So it's like it's kind of like what is the system admins? How would I say it? The higher power is guiding everything. We're just acknowledging it, but we also do what the most advanced capability is for the human species. Pretty much what I'm saying is we advance with the most advanced context. In the most advanced context, there requires to be the most advanced power. That's God. So we acknowledge we are in this world and we're not a system admin, we're a user here, but we have system admin privileges to be conscious, to have a relationship with the higher power. But we also have a species that is like living here too. We have to, so it's like very fascinating when you wonder about the future of humanity, especially with the presence of the higher power. So anyways, guys, I guess I'll just, the final thing I'll say is Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen, which means all praise to the original. And we as human beings wonder about what's the best thing we can do, and it's to wonder about what the species, what the problems of the species are, and like caring for that. I don't know how to say it. Anyways, thank you for listening. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, in the name of God, most benevolent, the most merciful. Rabbit Fairly. Thank you for listening.